Okay, this is going to be a kind of an in-depth video on how to make a fishing lure, and we're going to go through a bunch of different things. This is a shot of my cameraman, my beautiful 6-year-old daughter Tori, and she's going to be my cameraman once I actually start working. We're going to give you a little bit of a tutorial. Here in the beginning, I'm going to show you some of the things that we make. Okay, this particular one was made out of knife handle. We're not going to be doing that today. This was heated with a torch and then beat until it was nice and thin, even thinness, and then of course, you know, you'll see the finishing process later. This one and this one were made from aluminum serving plate. This one here, I'll show you in a little bit what this one was made from. Okay, that's actually it's made from a hot water baseboard register, and the little bits of silver on it, that's solder, because this is actually, it was too thin a material to work with, so this is actually two pieces that I have soldered together. It's one end of the tube that was hammered flat, and then the other end of the tube that was hammered flat and put in my vise and soldered together to create one heavier piece that the fish won't rip through. This one is actually stainless steel. This is the material that we're going to be working with today because it's already the correct thickness, and so this is what we're going to be working today. So I'm going to put this in my pocket because this is the material that this is the pattern that we're going to use. We're going to trace this out on some stainless material. This one likewise was also made out of an aluminum plate. Lots of things you can do. You can see I've made a bunch of different things here, lures, and this one's made out of some copper drain pipe that I had. Here's a bigger one, also copper drain pipe. Okay. Alright. So now some of the material, I apologize for how dirty the garage is. Some of the material that you can see, there's an elbow that I cut, a copper elbow that I cut one of those spoons from. Here's a section of some copper plate, and the fact that it's mangled and everything like that, you know, work with what you have. It doesn't really matter. You can make fishing lure out of almost anything. I was actually making them out of steel for a while, but that's a pain because they rust, and you either have to finish them with paint and then some epoxy, maybe some DevCon 2-ton lure epoxy to prevent them from rusting. This here is the outside of a box fan that went bad that I was making some out of. This particular one here, this is actually, I've had great success with this particular lure. I've caught many fish on this. This is the first one that I ever made. This has not been coated, not been anything. And I've caught some really big fish. I caught a 16-pound brown trout out of Cayuga Lake on this one in October, I believe October 22nd of 2016. I caught a big fish. Some other material. Here's the example of something you can buy at the Goodwill store. You can buy a knife and then just, you know, grab it with a pair of vice grips on one end, heat it with a propane torch, unless you have a forge. If you have a forge, that would be great. Heat it with a propane torch, and then you take it over here to the anvil, hold on to it, beat it really quick and hard. It takes a lot to stainless is tough to work with, but you can do it. Other materials you can use that I have used. Here's the copper register pipe that I told you I used. I just cut off a section for that one, that whichever length you want it, maybe right here, and then beat it flat, and then beat it into the shape that you want it in. So all kinds of things you can use, but this is the material that we're going to be working with today. This is some stainless steel chimney flashing that I was given, and as I say, we're going to be working with this today. Really quickly, here's this is a pewter plate that I made one out of yesterday. It's very heavy pewter plate. I made this one. I don't actually plan on fishing with this one. I gave it to somebody as a gift that because pewter's a nice metal to work with. Gave it to somebody as a gift that doesn't fish. So let's go ahead and start. Tori, my cameraman, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the camera. And why don't you bring it right over here? Daddy will try to focus right on this anvil. And let me look at the view and see if you might have to raise it up a little more. Okay, see? This is how you want it so that so that people can see. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
My arms are gonna get tired.
Your arms are gonna get tired? Well, if your arms get tired after a little while, you tell me, and we will pause the video, and I'll get one of your sisters to come and help me. Let's see here. What did I know I put that. Here it is. Okay. So you start right off, you've got your stainless steel piece here, and that's not quite big enough. So we're going to go back to here, just for ease of doing it. We're going to go back to here, and we're going to trace out a piece. And if you can see, I don't know if you can see on the video, but there's this little piece of stainless that's bent. You don't need to worry about that. If you were making, if this was where we were using the pattern, you could still use that. That would be fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You can, because when you do it, you're going to beat it and hit it straight. So it's going to be made straight anyways. Okay. Now, of course, for the initial one, you won't have a pattern. So, and many of them that I do, I don't bother. But I like this design. I like this, and so that's why I use this as a pattern. It just makes it easier and quicker. Okay. So now that we've got that drawn out, now we're going to cut that. And my tools are basically all over the place. And so we're going to turn this on.
Daddy?
It's okay, honey. It's okay. I promise you won't get hurt.
Okay. He's very careful to not cut himself. I talked a little bit.
That's okay. Okay, so now we've got this piece, which may be hot. This one is not because it's such thin material. Stainless doesn't actually hold its heat too well. If it was aluminum, that would be a different story. Aluminum gets hot quick and stays hot. So now this is done, and now we're going to come over here to where I have another piece of my equipment. Oh, and by the way, here's the aluminum plate. Come closer, honey. Here's the aluminum plate that I made several lures out of. I picked this up at a Goodwill store it was 50% off, so it was $1.99.
Daddy,
$1.49. So you can see
hands are getting...
your hands are getting cold.
Yeah.
Okay, let's pause the video and get some gloves for you. Okay, we're going to pause the video. She's going to get gloves. All right, we're back. She's got her nice gloves on, and she's hopefully not going to be cold. And we're going to finish this up. So here you go, Tori. Take the camera. Okay. You holding on to it good? All right. And this is the piece. This is what you want to focus in on. So come over a little closer. Not too close. Don't be scared by the noise, okay, sweetheart? All right. So now we're just going to zip this and make it the correct shape of the pattern. All right. Apparently the camera turned off, but you can see in the middle of it, this is about where I'm at right now. So I've ground a little bit of this off. I'm going to hand the camera back to her. And here we go. Can I see? I want to make sure it's still taking video. And it is. Okay, so don't touch it. Here's the problem. Don't touch, there's buttons under here, honey. Don't touch any of the buttons. Can you hold the camera from the sides? Okay, you're holding it okay. You're holding it okay. All right, so we're almost done with this. And I'm going to dip this in some water just for a second so that it gets a little cooler to work with.
Okay.
Okay.
Daddy, we're too close.
Huh?
We're too close.
Oh, okay. So I'm pretty happy with that shape. Here we're going to come over here for a second. Come on, Tori, bring the video. And we're just going to take this. This is some 80 grit sandpaper on here. Just going to nip the burr off of it.
Daddy, my arms are getting tired.
What?
My arms are getting tired.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video here. I'm going to finish nipping the burr off, and then we're going to come back and do some more.
Should we get a use the sawing board?
Okay, so now I've nipped the burr off it, and my helper is taking a break, which is cool. She deserves a break. She's just like... Alrighty. Apparently there's a maximum recording time. I don't know what the heck the deal is with that. So this has got the burr nipped off, and I'm just going to tap it a little bit and make sure that it's nice and flat. Turn it over. Tap it again a few times and make sure that it's nice and flat. I don't want to hit it too hard because you could still work with it, but then you'd have to take the metal, you'd have to take the divots out that you put in the metal when you hit it. So now I'm going to take it over here to the polisher, and there's the polisher, and I'm just going to polish it a little bit first and see how the metal looks before I do any more. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video and do this. Okay, so I didn't go crazy on it. I only spent about, I don't know, 45 seconds on it. I just wanted to polish it up just a little bit to see if there's any major defects in the metal. I'm going to be hammering it, so little defects will get taken out through the hammering process, and then I'm going to polish it up from there. From here, I'm going to come over here, and what I do to get it to the right shape is I'll put it on this piece of pipe that's in my vise, okay, and then I've got another piece of pipe that has been cut in half, and that puts over there, and then I just put it in the vise and I squeeze them both together, and that creates the curved shape. So I'm going to pause the video and go ahead and do that. Okay, so I've got the metal in the vise. You can see it's sandwiched nicely in between those, and then all I do is I just tighten it. Just tighten it down. It's okay to get too much of a bend in it, because you can take that bend out later. Okay, so you can see that's almost all the way down. Okay, now it's pretty close to all the way down. Untighten it and see what you got. Okay, so there's the lure stuck inside there, and that's a little bit of a problem, but you just have to kind of chisel it out with like a screwdriver or a small pick, because it's stuck in there. But let me pause the video. I'll do that and show you what we've got. Alright, so this is what we've got here. It's bent into the nice shape that we want it, or at least somewhat the nice shape. I'm going to pass the camera off to my cameraman, who's going to show you the remainder of the process. There you are. Be careful not to press any of the buttons. Okay, come on over here, Tori. Well, what I do for this part is I take, actually I need to drill the holes in it first. And what I recommend is a punch. Don't go too close to the edge. Make sure you get it in the center as best as you can. Don't go too close to the edge, because you can always grind more off, but you can't add more material to it. So, you know, if you err on the side of going in too deep. Okay, and so you make a little divot there, and you do the same to the other side. Make sure that it's in the center or as close. It really doesn't have to be perfect. I want to go back a little bit more. I didn't like that. Okay, that's good. Okay, so that's that. Now we're going to take this drill that we've got. Sometimes I have to use a different drill at this part, but we're going to see if this one goes through. Yeah, we're going to use a different drill bit really quick, just to make a pilot hole, and then a smaller drill bit that's a little bit sharper, and then we'll use that other one. Okay, so we're going to make these pilot holes. Oh, well, that's that. Broke that. So, never fear. I have another one I can use. I do break them from time to time. Better if I have a better drill bit set and a drill press, but since I don't, And that one broke too. Alright, here we're going to pause the video, and I'm going to get those holes drilled. Okay, I've got the holes drilled in them, and you can see there's little burrs on them. So with this little sander, I'm just going to take those burrs off. Pause the video for that, and then I'll come back. Okay, so that took 2 seconds to nip those edges off. Now, the thin end of this spoon, which is the top end, this right here where my finger is, that's going to go here. You can see here I've put a small ball peen hammer in there. This is how I'm going to make the edge. And I'll show you that in just a second. Alright, so here's Tori, and she's going to hold the camera right there for a minute and take a little bit more video. Right here is where you want to focus on, honey. So basically, you just take it over the ball part and you tap the end down a little bit, like so, until you get the shape you want. You want to be gentle with it. Camera. And remember what you're focusing on, okay? Alright, so back over here, just showing you putting the hammer marks on it. Now, ball against ball, and be careful because here you can change the shape of the, very easily change the shape of the lure that you're working on, and you don't want to do that. Or if you do, you can always correct it. It's not a huge deal, really. Alright, so once you get the head of this done, okay, so once you get the head of this done, you can take this out and put in that piece of pipe that we had earlier. Make that nice and tight. Okay, and here's where you can do the remainder of it. And so we're going to pause the video. I'm going to do that and then show you what it looks like, and then we'll take it over to the wheel and polish it. Okay? Alright, so if you remember right, I'm going to put them both on the anvil here. This is the one that we started with. It's been polished. It's nice. It's got a little bit of marker on it from the one side, and then this is the one that we just made, which has not been polished yet, so still needs to be polished, but the shape is right. I'll turn it around, and it's a thin spoon, but stainless steel is very hard. You could probably get a 30-pound fish on this and not, and even with all his jerking and yanking, and this is going to be just fine. So I'm going to pause the video and take it over here to the polisher and polish it on the polishing wheel. This is just a cloth polishing wheel, and I do use rouge that I have purchased from Harbor Freight for this, so that just helps it. You can buy it in the polishing section. Okay, and I'll take one last shot of it when it's done and show you what it looks like. Alrighty, so that's what it looks like final, just like the other one. Nice and shiny, attracts a lot of fish, This, by the way, is about 4.5 inches long. And obviously, I know that this is very time consuming and not monetarily worth it. But this is just, I like working with my hands, and if any of you are like me, enjoy making something with your hands, and this very definitely will catch fish. Thanks for watching, and if you like it, subscribe and hit like. Thanks.